It actually reminds me of because on this podcast we talk a lot about ayahuasca and things like that. I don't know if you personally have an experience of it, but in the native tradition, they have the practice called dieta. Essentially, they will drink ayahuasca and also take on a different botanical and just really studying the impact it has on the body before, during, and after. And then you do that for, I don't know, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, or so forth. Because ayahuasca itself, or yahe or whatever, is as a multiplier of the sensations, the image, the emotions, and all of that. So then you can really study like basically the different nuances of that. Have you heard about dieta at all?
Yes, and I'm not one to lead the practice. I can tell you that during my time, it's interesting, and I assume that your listeners are tapped into sort of the differentiation of there's how we might classify drugs as a whole, right? So I've not had a positive experience with ayahuasca. Not that other people haven't, but it's been many years since I've done it, and who I did it with. But you want to make sure that you're doing it with someone that you really trust. But I've not gone through the journey of doing it and then digesting different botanicals. At the time we were doing it, it was studying yoga very intensely. And I found that just through the practice of studying yoga and the practice of meditation, very much along the lines of what Ram Dass from his book Be Here Now discovered was, yes, there are substances that can fast track, but through once you open up that door, you have the power and the potential and the possibility to continue to tap into that door. It's going to take a little bit more effort, but I believe that through meditation and through yoga practice, and also just the simple act of chemolysis, I feel like for me, gets me tapped into a calm, energetic zone where I'm able to tap into and open the doors of either just being hyper present or tapping into a deeper sub self. Or so I'd say just the path of Ayurveda. So yes,
Mm.
there's many people that have practiced ayahuasca, and I'd say that I've experimented, but the slow methodical practice of Ayurveda and the slow methodical practice of tea and really understanding the leaf has had a much deeper impact on me long term than these short spikes and these short rushes that tend to happen. If
Yeah.
people want, I think what happens is there's people look for the instant rush, they look for that shortcut. And don't get me wrong, ayahuasca, I know people that have personally have healed themselves through pancreatic cancer and through other depression and other major things through using ayahuasca. And it could be a tremendously healing path. It's just not the path that's worked for me. I believe that there are other paths that have had more of a deeper impact. I think sometimes we have in our society, we tend to believe that in order to seek spirituality, in order to seek deep wisdom, you need to step far out of your atmosphere. You need to step far out of your circle of influence, and that could be through a substance, or it could even be through going deep distances, whether it's to India or other parts of the world. And although there are times for retreat, there are times for allowing yourself that permission to go deep and on that soul search hunt. But I believe that you can find a deeper sense of spirituality in your daily practice. It's not necessarily closing your ears and closing your eyes, but how am I showing up in the world through the work that I do, through the intention that how I show up with my family, how I show up with my community. The more present I can become and the more successful I can become, it becomes a spiritual obligation to be the biggest and the best light that I possibly can be through becoming successful, through doing well while doing good. So it's not separating. Not that money is evil. It's not that you need to go off and do something completely separate of yourself, but you can actually intertwine all those worlds together and lead a life of just full spiritual intention.